Being fat, 1000% I'd take it.
Maybe twice your size, but 10 times your size, would you?
I've always struggled with my weight in terms of putting weight on. It's something that some may say I've been blessed with. I disagree. I've found it really difficult because family members would make odd remarks at parties. I'll blow over in the wind. I'm so thin that I'd snap. I was bullied for being thin right the way through high school. I think it's just as damaging being on this side of the scale as it is to being on your side. I actually envy plus size people in a sense, and I don't know if you want to call them fat people. I don't like calling them fat people.
I like it.
Why?
I'm reclaiming that word because yes, I am fat just as I am black, just as I am a woman, like it's a fact. And I think once we start saying it just outright that this is what it is, then being fat, 1000% I'd take it. Maybe twice your size, but 10 times your size, would you?
What? Yeah, I genuinely would. I absolutely would. And Talia, I apologise if that isn't coming across as honest, but genuinely, this is how I feel about it, because I have been through so much as a thin man. I've gotten to a point where I'd be willing to give anything a try at this point.
I have done Weight Watchers, I've done Slimming World, I've tried diet pills. At points in my life, tried to like overeat to make myself sick and things like that.
God.
And there's a little bit of a preconception there is that I'm this size just because I've eaten.
Yeah.
But also, I have polycystic ovaries, and some people have different symptoms. It could be irregular periods, infertility, weight gain, especially around the stomach area, which I have.
I've been to the doctors and said there must be a pill or something I can take to slow my metabolism, to allow my body to digest food, to allow me to put more weight on. She said, no, your body is the way it is. I tried to use different methods. I used things like bulking powder, only eating things like carbohydrates, almost having like 5 meals a day. It would just never work. I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want, which is a massive positive.
Can I extend that positive?
Sure.
You're just allowed to eat in public. If I wanted to have my Tesco meal deal, I'd get looked at. People are gonna stare at me because they're just thinking that this is like the 7th meal of the day. Then they're looking at you, then there's a judgment.
To be on the receiving end of that must be awful. And do I think it's a thin privilege to be able to eat in public? Now, yeah, I guess I do. I didn't before. I hadn't really thought about it before.
Fat people, because of their size, they can't be successful.
That I would disagree with. I've seen a lot of plus size fat people go on and really progress.
But just because you've seen 2 people in your workplace doesn't mean that...
Or just because you've seen nobody with that progression, or just because you've...
But don't you think that my view is a bit more substantial because that's the life I'm living?
But this is the life I'm living, so why is it any different?
Society is catered towards thinner people, so therefore life is just a little bit more bliss. And when I say life, I just mean like transport, restaurants. The way it's set up literally means that it's harder for someone that's bigger.
You know what, I actually hadn't thought about that.
So yeah, thin privilege, that's a real thing. I used to despise myself.
Yep.
I did not like to look at myself in the mirror, and I would constantly have this voice in the back of my head just being like, you're less than. Everyone's happy that they're thin, so...
They're not though, this is the thing, this is...
And that's what okay, maybe that then is another preconception.
Yeah, a lot of the same thing that you've felt, that I've really felt as well. Especially when I was at university, I would skip that lecture so I could stare at myself in the mirror for a good hour, 2 hours. It was such a dangerous place to be, and I had to find the point of where the line was to say, well, hang on a minute, no, this needs to change. You need to start celebrating what you do like about yourself. And the motto I've kind of really given myself is that I might not be able to grow here, but I can grow here and I can grow here, and that's all that matters.
I feel like I've told you things today that you didn't really think about.
Absolutely, yeah, and those are things that I'm going to be able to take home and really understand more now, and I'm grateful for that, about the fact that because I'm a thin person I can eat in public. I would never have thought about that at all, ever in my life.
From this experience, I definitely understand how there are similarities and crossovers. In my eyes, you will always be positive and I will always be the negative.
Earlier on I said I would put myself in your shoes. Being honest, I think I'd much rather put myself in neither of our shoes.
I'd rather be fat. I like being me. I don't think I would change it. Being smaller isn't the answer to everything, and I think that if we was all the same size and all looked the same, there'd just be no variety.
Having come into it thinking 1000% I would put myself in the other person's shoes, I think I'd rather just be happy in my own skin. It's certainly given me a much greater appreciation for the position that I'm in as a thin person.